All right, guys. Hey, it's Atheist for the Cause. The much-awaited American Pravada CNN Part 2 has released, and I'm gonna tell you, I listened to the whole thing first so I could do a proper video response. This is a disappointing video, to be sure. There's not much here, but it is a little something, and hopefully there's gonna be more coming out. The first part was much juicier, so. Every little bit gives us some insight though, and let's check this baby out.
Other presidents tried to say nice things about the Russians and other, warm things in the.
So the question has been answered right off the bat. James O'Keefe asked us, or told us, we would all know this guy that was in the next CNN American Pravada video. And, it's Van Jones. Some had hoped it would be Brian Salter, myself included, but I also thought, maybe Anderson Cooper would be interesting because he was CIA and he is an even bigger name than Van Jones. But Van Jones is a very good target because he's the one who said that Trump getting elected was a white lash, and he's just an elitist that tries to pretend like he's an everyday person, that he understands the everyday person, and he just doesn't. And honestly, he's, from a political standpoint, he doesn't really have much insight to offer either on elections. He acts like he does, but all he does is gaslight racial tensions, and there's nothing intellectual about that. So let's go into this.
Their heart and they love, not in the face of an active attack on the country.
Hey, man.
I want to go back.
Heart and they love.
I'm going to go back, and because I think I might have talked over the beginning, I want you to be real clear about the beginning because it's going to contradict what he says later. And it shows that they say one thing to our faces for ratings and another thing behind the scenes.
Other presidents tried to say nice things about the Russians and other, warm things in their heart and they love, not in the face of an active attack on the country.
Hey, man.
The Russian thing is just a big nothing burger.
Really?
Then why is CNN constantly like Russia this, Russia that?
So it wasn't a direct contradiction, but basically, he's playing it up that Trump was doing something so wrong with Russia, and then comes out behind the scenes. He doesn't think there's anything there. He's just, playing it up for ratings.
I would encourage everybody in this room and frankly everybody across the country to take a look at it.
Changing it from fake news, though.
Doesn't that undermine?
Very fake news.
I know, but aren't you?
That's my favorite part. Like, that stuck with me before the media even really picked it up and talked about it. The fact when he originally said very fake news, it really cracked me up because I was watching it live in the press conference, and it really stuck with me. And I've used that term a couple of times, and now people are starting to really pick it up in the mainstream media. And I'm happy to see that it's sticking because CNN, it really sets. It's hard when you're putting all of the mainstream media together and you're saying they're all lying. Like, pretty much it's true, but it also protects them, in a sense, because they're a group. Now, if you say CNN is very fake news, while the mainstream media in general is fake news, well, now you're saying the New York Times, the Washington Post, they're doing a lot wrong, but CNN, they're really the ones we should be concentrating on. And it gives some direction.
The Russian thing is just a big nothing burger.
the way he said that, a big nothing burger, like it was so it's poetic, and it just rolls off the tongue, and being a poetic person, it doesn't help you when you're caught undercover. It creates for very good lines, against you.
Today we continue with our American Pravda investigations inside America's mainstream media with part 2 on CNN. Fake news. The Russia story.
I want to say something about the title. It's part 2 of CNN. Does that mean that American Pravada is this line, the way I'm interpreting it, and they're going to go through CNN, and then they're going to have like part 1, 2, 3, 4, however, maybe 4 parts. That sounds about right. And then they're going to go like Washington Post, part 1, 2, 3, 4. And then they'll go, say New York Times, part 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's kind of what I'm thinking here. That I think they're going to go through all these different outlets. And they're starting with CNN, but then they're going to go to the other outlets. And my guess is that they have juicier stuff with the other outlets even. But we'll see if that prediction is true or not.
About to see one of CNN's most prominent left-leaning political commentators in total agreement with President Trump. We think this might be the first time this has ever happened. Maybe it's because...
James, so cute. That's a bit of a smug statement, but you have to love it just because of what CNN has done to the country. The lack of ethics. I think it should literally be looked into. Taking away some of these people's journalism degrees, and trying to get universities to retract them because they're not acting ethically, and there's supposed to be a standard where if journalists don't act ethically, they can have their degrees pulled. So
because he didn't realize he was going to be on
if you really want to make a change in journalism, to be honest, if you go after the university, that's a weak point, and you say, hey, we're not going to trust your credentials from your school because you're putting up people that are going into like CNN that on a regular basis that are breaking these credentials and these ethics, and you're not properly teaching ethics, and so you're not removing their credentials. So say Harvard, we're not gonna listen to. We're not going to follow your, we're not going to care about your journalistic degree anymore. We're going to value it less, and that will cause change.
Television. And as Chris Cuomo has said, sometimes that's when you're the most honest.
Hey, man. We met in Palm Springs a few years back.
Good to see you, man. You good?
Yeah. How you been? What are you
I'm
doing? What do you think's going to happen this week? I mean, with the whole Russia thing.
The Russia thing is just a big nothing burger.
Really? You don't think that...
There's nothing there you can do. The Russia thing is just a big nothing burger.
Really? You don't think that...
There's nothing there you can do.
Yesterday, you met supervising producer John Bonifield.
Then why is CNN constantly like Russia this, Russia that?
Because it's ratings.
Because it's ratings?
Our ratings are incredible right now.
But honestly, you think the whole Russia shit is just like...
By the way, when he says their ratings are incredible, you keep in perspective, CNN is lower than other cable news outlets. Like Fox News is destroying them. MSNBC is even destroying them. And MSNBC is considerably lower than Fox News, so you can tell the gap between CNN and Fox News is huge right now. And while their ratings may be higher than last year at this time, that's true for all of these cable news stations.
Bullshit.
could be bullshit. I mean, it's mostly bullshit right now. Like, we don't have any big giant proof.
Or any mini proof.
CNN's response, quote, CNN stands by our medical producer, John Bonifield. Diversity of personal opinion is what makes CNN strong. We welcome...
What? Diversity of personal opinion? That's not personal. That's not even personal opinion. You're just giving facts.
Welcome it and embrace it. Unquote. Good. Because Bonifield says he was not alone in his cynicism for the news business. And Van Jones agrees with him that the Russia story is bold.
So I love the news business, but
I find it so
I'm
fascinating.
very cynical about it. At the same time, so are most of my
If they really valued multiple opinions, they wouldn't all, they would do stories from multiple angles.
Yeah, it's like...
I'm not alone.
The Russian thing is just a big nothing burger.
Really?
The organization is reeling. The president is posting headlines about our investigation. And even mainstream media is paying attention. White House spokesperson Sarah Huckabee Sanders has a recommendation to all.
There's a video circulating now, whether it's accurate or not, I don't know, but I would encourage everybody in this room, and frankly...
I gotta say something real quick. When the former Fox News head left Fox News, I think he was part of the problem. And when he left, it really enabled Fox News to start covering things like, to go more pro-Trump, to go to cover more like Project Veritas type stuff. Because in the past, Fox News would have ignored this, but now they're using it to attack their rivals, and that's fantastic.
Everybody across the country to take a look at it.
So there you have it. Van Jones admits the Russia story is just a nothing burger. Bonifield says it's all about ratings. The White House is telling everyone to go watch the videos. The media for years has gotten away with manufacturing consent. People are fed up with the emptiness and the artifice that pervades our media.
That's so true, but I have to say, it's not a nothing burger, it's a nothing burger. You gotta make it flow, James O'Keefe. Come on, man.
Well, I'll tell you something. Change is coming, whether CNN likes it or not.
So that's all there is. There's not anything huge here, and honestly, I think what Bonifield said was very damaging. What Van Jones said, he's basically just saying there's a nothing burger. I mean, Bonifield literally said, like, orders are coming from the CNN heads, like this actual CEO and the top executives. Now, Van Jones basically just gave his opinion and said, there's nothing you could do. And, there's nothing wrong with... There's nothing super great about what... Especially when you're going undercover. Like, if you go undercover, the person who's being, caught undercover should always be given some benefit of the doubt. Like, they aren't speaking in a manner to, to give an argument, because they're not realizing that they're being recorded, and they could reword it in a way that would be more of an argument if they knew they were being recorded. So I always like to give the benefit of the doubt to the person who's under a sting operation, but even giving the benefit of the doubt, Bonifield, what he said was crazy, and that said a lot about CNN. And with Van Jones, I mean, it just shows that he basically says one thing to us, and and we basically know it's coming from his heads anyways. But then behind the scenes, he's saying another thing. So, I mean, I was hoping for more, to be honest, but maybe we'll get more in the next one. And the first one gave us, enough, right? The first one gave us enough. Everything from the first one was gravy. The second one gave us a little something. I think it hurt Van Jones a little bit and his credibility, but I'd really like something in the next one to be that final nail in the coffin, and really, really damage CNN's reputation. We'll see if we get it or not, but hopefully there is a CNN Part 3. We'll have to see. Or otherwise, we'll have to see if they move on to maybe the Washington Post or something. But that's all I've got for you now. And keep an eye open for future videos. I'm sure more will be coming soon with Project Veritas. I'm also going to be releasing a video about a lawsuit against CNN. So keep an eye open for that, and like and subscribe. This is a very, very serious lawsuit that's probably about as serious as what Gawker faced. So remember, a lawsuit ruined Gawker. So CNN is facing a lawsuit. Maybe, CNN can handle a lawsuit a little better because they're bigger. But at the same time, it's like $100 million lawsuit. This thing is huge. And it has the potential to make the top heads roll and to really destroy CNN. So I'll talk to you guys later.